All right, I think we'll just start and allow people to join in late. I think people had a nice Friday night. But welcome everyone who's joined on time. Thank you very much for that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Celia. I'm a Resolution Fellow. I'm based here in Nairobi, and I co-lead the Nairobi Innovation Hub together with Dalberg, represented today by Joy. We have a very exciting event today that was actually as a result of all of you voting for having a personal finance workshop. I think we noticed this is something that regardless of your profession, regardless of what you're working on or interested in, it's relevant for all of us, and it's something we're not taught in school. So I'm interested to find out what I can learn as well, and I hope that you all can get some takeaways. Let me quickly introduce the Nairobi Innovation Hub. So we at Resolution Project is a US-based organization that supports young entrepreneurs, people interested in social impact, with mentorship, with funding, with general support and networking. And as part of that mission, they've extended their reach to also meet community members in the locations that their fellows work in. So Resolution co-organized the Nairobi Innovation Hub in Nairobi in 2019. I think some of you were there at the start. It's nice to see you here as well. And yeah, this hub is really for us to have a free and accessible platform where entrepreneurs, people interested in social impact, can discuss challenges that affect all of us. And as I mentioned, we're co-hosted by Dalberg. So Joy, maybe you can introduce Dalberg.
Thanks, Celia. Really great to see everyone. And as you said, a few old faces and hopefully a few new ones in the room. I think we're really excited about the session today. Excited for you to meet our speaker, Sheba. I think, since we started the hub, as a founding member like Celia, it's been 4 years and running. And so I'm Joy Nyangor. I should have started there. So I work at Dalberg Advisors. So we have Dalberg in Nairobi. We're a global firm. Largely, we're now 30 offices as of yesterday. So a new office in Colombia, Bogota. So I think how I can describe what it is we do is really help. We call ourselves the largest impact advisory firm. We basically take private sector skills and apply them in the development sector. So we work across practice areas such as inclusive business, climate and environment, education to employment, or early childhood education. So a range of sectors as well as practice areas, monitoring and evaluation, organizational effectiveness, and we really bring those skills into the development space. So I think typically I work for Dalberg Advisory. We have 5 different businesses with different skill sets and approaches to how we handle problem solving. And so at Dalberg Advisory, we're really usually taking an advisory or support capacity. But at the same time, we have wanted to be in touch with the entrepreneurs and the social innovators and actors in the areas in which we work. And that's why it was really important for us to go on this venture with Resolution Fellows to found the Nairobi Innovation Hub. So that's a bit of context on how Dalberg came in with the Resolution team. We're really grateful for always sharing your thoughts and ideas, and I'm excited for this to be a space to learn today. So would be happy to take any questions that you have. Please do feel free as the speaker goes through the program to chime in, keep it interactive, and let's all take something away from today. So that's it from my side. Over to you, Celia.
Thank you, Joy. And then before I introduce our speaker, we're still only a few people, but I think if you can introduce yourself in the chat, maybe just put on your video quickly to wave. And yeah, then I'm, with no further ado, I'd like to introduce our speaker, Sheba Njagi. She works at Go Forth Strategies as the lead coach and trainer. And she's specifically focused on financial literacy, entrepreneurship, and personal development. So I think she's the perfect person to take us through the topic of today. I won't introduce you too much because I think you'll do that yourself, but I'll hand it over to you. And thank you so much for being here today. The floor is yours, Sheba.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Celia and Joy. I'm really excited for the upcoming chat. Welcome, Florence, and I hope to get to know all of you. We are not very many, so feel free to engage. If you feel like switching on your video, as long as you don't have like a busy background, happy to have conversation with you. So as Celia has said, I'm a big personal development advocate. I believe life should be best lived when we are experiencing it holistically. And the truth about finances is they are smack in the middle of every aspect of our lives. And as I was telling Celia and her colleagues earlier in the week, it is so strange and sad that very many of us, okay, depending on which school you went, but very many of us, grew up, we went to school, did all these programs, all these modules, and we barely had a session or what do they call them? A subject that purely focused on personal finances. And yet, personal finances are that's why we work every day. That's why we run our money in our businesses so that we can be able to make money. How come this was not a key subject for us to be able to engage with? So first of all, that always just blows my mind. And I do not know how they were thinking or what they were thinking. And that's why I believe I exist to play that part, my small part in changing the narrative, in ensuring that I live a better life, managing my finances better. And because of the information and knowledge that I have and experience I have, share it also with people who are interested. And so my background is 8 years ago, I decided to work. And so I did a deep dive when it came to personal finances because I enjoy, I'm a finance professional from a school background. And so I realized there's a gap here when it comes to learning, when it comes to knowledge sharing. And I love that. What can I do to share this information? And so I've been practicing as a coach and also as a trainer when it comes to personal financial matters and also early stage entrepreneurship. And so when Celia told me about this opportunity, I jumped on it and said, let's do this. And so my goal today is for us to have a conversation around how we can level up and how we can continue to level up when it comes to our financial journey. Some of us, as I understand, are also entrepreneurs. You could be having a job and also running a company like I do, or you could be focusing on a business the whole time. And I know the Resolution Project continues to provide a lot of all these resources. And so how do we also make sure that we are healthy from a personal financial perspective? Because when we are healthy on our end, we can also be able to show up for our clients. We wouldn't be in a rush just to finish our projects just so that we can get paid, Even in business, being a business person, I also know the reality of if you don't separate your business finances and personal finances, it is so chaotic. And sometimes it's like, have they paid me? Does this money go to my house rent or my Zoom payments? It can be quite confusing. And so I hope to share some strategies that can support you on your journey. So let me get started, and as questions come on board, feel free to mention them, on the chat box, even raise your hand and we can have a conversation. We are not that many. It will be a pleasure for me to talk with you or, have a conversation with you. So Go Forth is my coaching and training business. Go Forth very clear as it says, and the mission for us is to live, share, and thrive. We have different coaches and trainers who support on different areas, and I specialize on personal finances. So today we get to talk about money and me. You've probably done a lot on funding for your business and all that, and continue to do so. Today, it's really about you and your finances. There's so much to talk about money, but in terms of our objectives today, we get to remember or review tricks and practical ways we can manage our expenses. And also, I like to start from the mind and the heart, because money never changes. The cost of Uber, it's always clear what our expenses are. But I like to start from the fact that we need to understand our money patterns, our money behavior. Why do I save how I save? Why do I invest the way I invest? Why do I spend money the way I do? What happens, or what happened in the past? What do I want to happen in the future? Because all those things are impacting how I am spending my money right now. So we'll get to talk about that. So how do we improve our personal financial reality, no matter where you are at the moment? Yeah, you could be at a place where you're feeling, oh my goodness, I've been able to pay off my debt, or I've just launched myself into this space of running a business, or I'm just earning a new income now. How do you adjust? How do you improve your current personal financial reality, no matter where you are? Some of these areas we'll discuss today will help you today. They can also help you next year, so that's the interesting thing about information and knowledge. So how do we improve it? Number one, we need to adjust and master our money attitude, right? The same way, we master our, communication or, relationships, in the same way we always have to say it's good to have a positive attitude in life. It also applies when it comes to our finances. That is the interesting thing about life, that our attitudes as individuals affect every aspect of our lives, including our financial status. So here we're talking about evaluating your money patterns, and I will delve a little bit deeper what I mean by that. Yeah, and then I always say, when you're also mastering your money attitude, may the right tribe be with you. Yeah, hi Avengers. May the right tribe be with you. Who are you working with in your life journey, and are they supporting your financial goals? Do they understand why you spend the way you spend these days, why you've made the decisions you're making now with regards to money? I like telling my friends, we were having a discussion with my best friend earlier this week, and I was saying, how interesting it was how we just used to say, let's go on a girl's date, and it was so easy. And now we literally have to plan it, not because we don't have time, but we are literally planning based on our financial budget, and it's because we are able to have that real, authentic conversation as friends. I'm able to respect where she is right now in her financial journey. She respects where I am in my financial journey, and we support each other. So having the right tribe or the right people around you, helping them to understand what you're working on, you don't need to give them details, helps you to achieve your financial goals. Another thing is, you can't be who you are going to be and who you used to be at the same time. When you realize there are certain things I need to change, certain negative things, or that I used to do about my money, or I never used to apply them, and I need to change them for me to improve my financial position next month, next year, in my future, then I have to change my mindset. I have to change my behavior. And so we can't live two lives when it comes to money matters as well, right? Then the other thing we'll be talking about is, how do you prioritize yourself and your outcomes? Why I like saying prioritize yourself and your outcomes is because we currently live in a world where it's really give. you wake up in the morning and you're thinking about your family, you're thinking about your children, your siblings, your mom. How can I help those people? How can I help those people? And so many times also for many of us, we find ourselves in a financial status. When you look at your budget, you're like, wow, it's like a Madonna agency, yeah? And then I look at my finances, I'm like, where is mine? So how is it possible for you to prioritize yourself so that you can be able to show up for others as well? Isn't it interesting that these are the same things you would talk about in a, maybe life coaching session and not about money, and it still applies in money? I find it very interesting. But here we are going to discuss this when it comes to money related aspects, yeah? Tracking our spending, budgeting, and also how do you pay yourself first? We'll talk about that. And we'll also talk about strategies about putting money in your pocket. Whether you do it now or whether you plan it for the future, it's okay, but we'll get to talk about that. I always like to tell everybody that dreaming is free, but the journey, it totally is not. And you may not pay so much for the journey, but payment is not just from a cash point of view, it's also energy, which is definitely not free. Your energy is not free, your time is not free. So I always like to look at it from a point of resources other than cash. So let's talk about adjusting your money attitude, adjusting your money attitude. So it starts with evaluating your money patterns. So chart the financial behavior pattern for yourself. And what do I mean by this? I like to say it's good for you to spend some time, even this weekend after this chat, some point later when you're having your own me time, to draw a timeline of your financial patterns, right? Think about it. I want you to think about your journey from when you started hearing about money, thinking about money, and even spending or using money. Try and just write everything you remember. For example, for me, when I do this exercise, and I write a lot, at least for myself, not published yet, but I do like writing a lot. I remember my very first experience when I think about money was when we used to be given like a few coins on Sundays to take, to go and take to church as offering. And I remember having that conversation in my mind. I used to like this little sweets. They were called patkos. I don't know if you all remember, but they were really tiny candy. And so I used to ask myself, should I go and take to God all this money, or can I just go and buy my favorite sweets? You can see that is my experience with money when I was a child. Decision making, access to financing. And I remember that. I also remember when I went to high school and I had to think about, I've been given 500 shillings as pocket money, right? For the rest of the month for me to utilize in school. And I had to think about, how am I going to ensure that I have extras? I also see in my notebook that I wrote experiences of trying to look for interesting ways to make extra money. Can you imagine? I remember saving some money, bought a box of biscuits. There used to be like so many packets of biscuits, and then went back to school. Then when everyone has run out of their pocket money, no, not pocket money, when everyone has run out of their snacks, that was around the third week after we'd gone back to school, then I'd unleash my box of biscuits and sell each at 5 shillings. And trust me, I would make a profit. That was just amazing. I didn't know personal financial management, but when I track my patterns, I'm able to see what I used to do. And can you imagine? It explains then why I do the things I do right now. It explains why I started my business when I was young, when I was 20. It explains why I looked for, I was keen on finding extra work when I was in campus, so that I could generate a bit of income to go for exchange experiences and things like that. It explains why even now, I always find myself thinking, how can I make a little bit more income? So it's very important for you to think about your journey. All our journeys, our past experiences are different, but they shine a spotlight, or they can give you an understanding of why you do the things you do. Some people will say, oh, you know what, I never saw money until I got to campus. That could be their experience as well. And that could explain why they do the things they do right now. Someone could tell you, oh, we would always be told money doesn't grow on trees. Money doesn't grow on trees. And that's why when I started getting money, I would make sure I keep it in my wallet because, I don't want it to get lost, or I don't want to lose this money. So when you think about these experiences, they can give you insights on why you do the things you do. Your experiences actually design or help you start having specific beliefs about money. I remember someone telling me, their grandma always used to tell them, you need to focus, always go to church every day. So they tried to kind of brainwash them unknowingly or knowingly to kind of tell them that money is not a good thing. Money is for people who do bad things. And you never know why the grandma would say such things. Maybe it was from her experience as a grandma. But then this person has grown knowing, I'm supposed to live a very, you see what I'm doing, quote unquote, humble life, that I'm not supposed to make so much money because money is not a good thing. And so it prevents them from showing up or doing their best to even create or set up wealth creation tools in their life. Can you see what I mean? Understanding your experiences so that you can see, do they have an impact on my beliefs? And then, because what is interesting is your beliefs also then start designing or creating thoughts in your mind. So you start having specific thoughts. So you need to start realizing, what sort of thoughts do I tend to think about on a day-to-day when it comes to money matters? I've had people saying they found themselves, because I usually do this exercise, I tell them, please journal every thought that comes to mind every day for the next 1 week. And they realized, someone told me, they always realize terms like, I'm broke, I don't have money. Someone is just like, I'll make money next time. Let me spend this next time. I'll do something about it. So you start realizing that your experiences inform your beliefs. Then they start informing your thoughts today. And then your thoughts inform what you do with your money, the pattern, how you spend it, how you save it, So it's so important for you to do this exercise. And I challenge you to spend some time to do it this week or this weekend or even next week. And it will just give you some insights. I've also had people who have gone ahead and thought about, maybe I may not remember everything about my past experiences because, people are different. Let me start by writing down, what are my current patterns? Yeah, you write down, what are my current patterns? And then start asking yourself questions like, why do I do that with money again? What makes me do that? And then you start digging a little deeper, and it can then guide you. It can then guide you to start seeing why you do the things you do. So you can start either from the experience side of things or from the current patterns side of things, right? I'd like to find out if there's a question about this, or if you can relate to this. I see Joy is like relatable. So yeah, feel free to use a chat box. So that's very important, because I won't lie to you. I will share with you the budget template. I'm sure you already have a sample. You can easily download one. But even your ability to use it and be consistent with it is very dependent on your financial behavior patterns. So that's why I always say the mindset aspect and adjusting it is so, so critical. All thoughts are things. That's what I was trying to say now when it comes to your thoughts. If you think money is hard to make, it is. If you think I can make money, no worries. Even if the recession is coming, I know I've been through that part. I'll be able to bounce back again. It makes it easier for you. So your thoughts are really powerful. I'd like to ask you, so what do you think? Do you think there are certain aspects about your money thoughts or financial thoughts that you need to adjust, you need to level up, or you need to improve, or you need to continue? Because you could be having good ones as well that are working for you. Could there be thoughts that you feel, maybe I need to stop thinking like that or saying such kind of things and do things differently? Translate your desires into your current reality. define your desire. So know what you want. By the way, why are you here on a Saturday morning while you could be somewhere in a forest, taking a nice breezy walk, right? Or you could be somewhere, on spending some time to relax. It's because there's a specific aspect of your financial journey that you want to achieve. So please write down what that is. Where do you want to be when it comes to your financial journey? And then be determined to get it. Stand by your desire and start now mapping out, so what do I need to do? And I'm going to share with you some of the things that you could do. So I talked about your tribe. So we are still in that part of your mindset. So the thoughts, the patterns, understanding your patterns is one of the things that you need to do to adjust your mindset. Another thing is your tribe, right? Reviewing your tribe and finding out, are we good to go? Are they supportive in my journey? What can I do to help them so that they can support me in my financial journey? So I'd like to find out, who is in my tribe. Your tribe are the average, the 5 people, around average of 5 people, 3 to 5 people you spend most of the time with, right? That you feel you care about them, they care about you, you're always often with them, and they don't need to be colleagues, right? They could be anyone in your life. So your circle of influence has a very big impact on your financial success. Can you imagine that? So sometimes you may need to shift your circle and say no to certain things so that you can be able to achieve your life goals. Sometimes you may even need to say yes to a couple of things within your circle so that you can be able to achieve your life goals, right? Your personal finance goals. So remember, this is your life, and if you truly want to succeed, you have to have a hard look at who you are surrounding yourself with. I like to say how when there's a point in my life, I would say about 2012, around 2012, 2013, I was in transition, work, trying to get into now the world of work after campus and things like that. And I'd seen some of my friends had already gotten really good jobs by the time I was coming back from an exchange program. And I realized something interesting, that I was kind of trying to avoid them because I was feeling like they were really working on putting themselves together, and I was still in a very kind of confused kind of place. So I would feel like when I'm sitting down with them, they sounded so focused. They sounded like they really had a lot of plans. They were talking about their budgets and things like that. And I realized I was kind of avoiding them. Then afterward is when I realized, you know what, Sheba, maybe it's good for you to start aligning with them, finding out what are some of the things they're doing for them to continue growing or leveling up. I like using that word. And so I had to start saying yes to some things. Like they tell me, we are saving 5,000 or 2,000 every month, join us. And I stopped avoiding them. So you start thinking about what you can do. Some of us may need to kind of tell them, hey, I'm working on a project right now with regards to my life finances. I may not be able to do some of these things. So you need to make positive changes, start taking action towards accomplishing your dreams of financial success into reality. Yeah, that's what it comes to when it comes to your tribe. Another thing around mindset is level up your self-discipline for money mastery. Improve already what you're doing if you have been doing something. Self-discipline will help you break bad money habits. Reminding yourself, this is why I'm doing the thing I'm doing. Focusing, reminding yourself, this is the goal and this is why I need to achieve that goal. Trying to set up small tasks or to-dos to help you get to that goal. Saying no to something, saying yes to something, saying wait to something, So self-discipline can be hard, but it's all about the commitment. So it's like you're in a gym, only that it's a money gym. Yeah, how anyone who has tried working out, Celia, I know how you're an avid fitness fit individual, yeah. But you can confirm, right? Am I wrong? How is the journey of self-discipline, Celia?
It takes time to get to that point where you're no longer like having to. I don't know, I guess there's this hurdle from you really having to remind yourself, like, I have to do this so I can get into the routine, but then eventually the routine picks up and then it's okay. But it takes it takes time.
Right. And it's the same thing with money as well. So it's about the intention. But I can tell you for a fact, even the times you drop off, because sometimes I drop off, I forget to update my budget. Like there's a time we went for 2 whole months in my house. We never updated our budgets. So it kind of threw us off, but we're just like, it's okay. A lot was happening around those 2 months. Let's get back to the one one, right? So it's okay to also extend kindness to yourself, even when you drop the ball. It's okay, right? It's a muscle that we are working on. And remember, as I started out, it's not a muscle we started when we were young, right? We were not taught these things. We are literally learning and implementing them now. So it will take time, but we must keep this financial management muscle in tow, in a good tone. So we've talked about the mindset. Is there a question or a thought around adjusting your mindset? Anyone who'd like to share a thought? I know we're not so many. Joy is saying, curious whether anyone else has a bit of guilt when making money while providing a social service or good, right? While it truly should not feel so bad to be economically free. This came to mind. Oh yeah. Let me tell you my experience. At least I am, and I'm curious to hear as well. I'm a coach, right? And a trainer of personal development issues. And these are issues that are so critical to someone's life being successful. Social good. Can you imagine how it is sometimes? I wouldn't lie. Sometimes I'm just like, should I even be charging? Maybe I should be like a priest or something, like a monk. Like, how can I be charging services to help people? So sometimes I do go through that. And but then I tell myself, this is what I tell myself. We are in this world for a purpose. And the purpose is actually to do good work, right? To make impact. And we are actually supposed to succeed from doing what makes us happy, from achieving our impact, our purpose. So if you are paid for doing good, it is good. That's actually how you're supposed to be really living your life. You're supposed to be living a good life because of the good things that you're doing. So I always remind myself that, and then I'm just like, hi client, and this is why you need to pay this amount of money, right? Because I'm also using a lot of, time, skills, knowledge that I've also invested in to be able to get here. And there needs to be a return of investment. Why? Because it's something that your clients needs as well. I recommend, if you haven't read a book called The Ikigai, I'll share the link later with you, Celia and Joy, if you haven't read it. It really talks about the power of finding your purpose, your reason of being. And what it says and reminds us is actually your reason of being, your purpose should be able to feed you, right? Should be able to enable you to live a good life, whatever good is to you. It should be able to help you serve others, right? From a vocation point of view, and even from on a way to serve the world. That is the market. And when you find that connection, especially when, if your connection is social service or good, then that's okay. That's where you get to thrive. But true, guilt does come through. Then, that's where the thought comes in, and then you attack it with a different affirmation, like the one I've shared, and you continue with your work. But good catch there, Joy. Right. So we've talked about the mindset aspect. Let's talk about prioritizing yourself and your outcomes. What does this truly mean? For me, this, as I said, is inspired from the fact that we, especially if you're Kenyan, if you're African, we come from a world, and actually I think it's just that everybody, but it's very special to us from a culture point of view. It's like you are born to help right? Sometimes you come from families where you hear dads and moms or grandparents saying, I took her to school so that she can come back and take care of us, right? It's not a lie. We've had these things. So we find situations where people's finances or financial position have really been affected because they are so too focused on others and they forget themselves. And so in the end, as they help others, which is a really good thing, they're not able to help themselves and even their future generations because they're busy spending almost everything on others. So what prioritizing self means is, yes, I will continue helping other people, but not at my, to the detriment of my life. So what can I do to be able to create a system that works for them and also for me? Key things: know where your money is going. It's a simple thing. Track your spending in detail. Create a budget. Until when I go through this session with some of our clients, that's when they realize, I have never thought that family support, donations, that is gifts and everything, take up such a huge chunk of my budget. Although there are also others that say, I never thought I could actually be gifting people. It's never been part of my budget, but now I can. So creating a budget helps you to see what matters to you and what you should be including in your expenses. So sometimes in your life, you may be required to reduce your expenses so that you can be able to work on certain goals. So for example, for me, I'm working on, I was just sharing with someone earlier that I'm working to save up for a website, right? And so what that means when I look at my budget is I need to see, I already realize that some things that I may need to reduce in my expenses, not forever, but to channel to that particular goal. And then I will get back to my stuff once that is done. That's the same thing with life. You may, in case you like riding, like me, there's something I'm saving up for. I was on a maternity leave that took a little longer than I expected. Yeah. That was my plan. So during that time, my bike has been stalled for a very long time. So now I need to replace the battery. And also plan for maintenance for it. So knowing that, I've gone and looked at my budget and realized, based on my income at the moment, I need to rework my expenses. So I may need to reduce some costs so that I can be able to afford that particular saving or tool that I need to get. So you may find yourself in such instances. If you do not have an emergency fund, it's important for you to consider it as something to include in your budget. A contribution, a saving towards your emergency fund, which is good in case there's a rainy day, right? In case you have debt, key thing you need to do is focus on debt repayment, and I'll show you how to do that. Yeah. Another thing that is very important for some of us, and even in certain seasons of your life, you may find that you will need to look for ways to increase your income. We did an exercise with someone earlier in the year, and these are people who have done the best. That commitment, I'm telling you, they worked on their budget, they tracked their spending, but there's a project they are working on, and they're just like, there's just no more money. If we reduce these expenses, our quality of life will be so bad. So that is a reality for them. And so the only next best move is to look for ways to increase income. So sometimes you will find yourself in such situations where you're like, I can't save anymore. I can't reduce anymore. If I reduce now, I'll probably not eat well or not. So sometimes when you find yourself in that situation, it starts ringing that bell of time to find ways to increase my income. Can I do some freelance work? Can I do some part-time work? Can I do some, can I work on my sales targets in my business, for example? So it just challenges you to start thinking about income generation. It's also good for you, if you haven't done that yet, to automate your finances so that you're able to review them regularly. Thankfully, technology digital technology has really improved to support and make our lives more efficient, including our financial lives, part of our lives. So it means now, if you live in, for example, Kenya or in Africa, even part of the other parts of the world, you're able to have different solutions that are automating your payments, that are able to support you to track your payments, that are able to support you to, perform convenient transactions in a way that you are able to follow up with them. So for example, I'll give you an example. We do in Kenya have a mobile tool payment app, right? That you can use, that is now so good that if you usually use it for payments and receiving for making and receiving payments, you are able to receive a very clear statement showing you where your money has gone and things like that. We have online banking solutions that can help you automate payments way in advance, that can give you clear statements. So it's your time to find out what solutions exist for me, which ones would work for me, and how can I use them in my financial journey. Why I say that is important is because there's also the risk of using too many apps. You know how when you open your laptop or computer and you have thousands of tabs, I know, and it can be so frustrating for you. It's the same thing with money matters. If your financial, if you have too many apps that you're working with, too many software, too many banks, it can also be overwhelming for you, and it can prevent you from actually working on your, it can prevent you, tech is supposed to make things easy for you. But if it becomes overwhelming, you will not even end up touching it. So find out which are the ones that would work for you and see how you can maximize it. And then of course, saving and investing is critical. Key don'ts, if you have constantly spending on credit, especially through mobile loans or credit cards, is very expensive, right? Of course, now we live also because of that, what I just talked about earlier about tech and the access to financing now. Now we even have more access to really expensive credit. And if you're not careful, you can easily find yourself in a pit that is so hard to come out of, but you can come out of it if you're in it. But what I would say is once you're out of it, try look for all ways to live within your means so that you're not always in debt. Because when you're in debt, you will not be able to progress forward towards the goals that you seek. Okay, we know about shopping when bored or hungry. Yeah, not good. So if you're planning to go for shopping this afternoon, please eat at home, very nice healthy meal, then go for shopping, because you know what will happen. Yeah, hungry. You know what will happen. It's just like, oh, there's a Subway there. Oh, there's a smoky. Oh, there's some eggs. Oh, that you realize that's 250 shillings that you never needed to spend on. Yeah, that could have gone on your 52-week challenge saving, for example. But, you know, there it is in your stomach. And of course, I'm not saying you go hungry. I'm just saying, please plan yourself. Yes, Celia, quick question on loans.
Yeah, and I mean, 100% hear you on the hungry bit. I think that's something that I definitely need to do better on. I'm wondering, because I understand this idea of you should try to stay away from debt as much as possible. But then I also know for myself, for example, student loans were something I had to take to be able to get to where I am. And I've been able to pay those off over time, but it was one of those things that was very clear for me. The only way for me to do this is with a loan. So I'm wondering, is there some guidance on like what kind of spending and expenses loans are, I guess, reasonable to engage in, or what that depends on? How can you make decisions on when to take a loan?
Yeah, I have a part where I'll be sharing about the loans, but let me clarify on this particular question. So please note, I'm not saying we don't take up loans, right? And I'll be talking about loans later. All I'm just saying is, let's not constantly spend on loans. There are loans that are definitely necessary. There are times you will find yourself having to swipe a credit card because, you know, there's an emergency or something which happened. It's okay. It's just that what I'm saying is, let it not be let's not think, or let's cause our minds not to think that it's a source of income. Because at the moment, especially in this country, very, very many young people, I don't have the exact statistics, but that's something also we can get once we do a bit of research. Most of young people in this country are in debt. And if you look at the kind of debt they're in, it's this really expensive mobile digital money loans. And so what happens is, you will take many people, what they do, unfortunately, is they think that a loan is a source of income, which it's not. So they're just like, oh, I need to send, I need to buy shopping for today. Oh, I don't have money in my account. Let me just use a mobile money thing. Oh, we need to go for a girl's drink. So, oh, let me Fuliza it. Fuliza is an overdraft. You don't need to. There are times that you will need, but don't think of it as an income. But we'll be talking about management. There is good debt. There is debt that is critical and that you will take and then you pay it. Yeah. Just don't think about it as an income. So I always look at debt as a facilitator. Right? See how in business we say business loan to facilitate you to do something, to facilitate your business to be able to do ABCD, but you will pay it because it was just facilitating a transaction. So it's the same thing for us. What I find interesting, Celia, is when entrepreneurs, let me speak about that. Entrepreneurs from a debt point of view, business debt, they kind of almost understand how it works. But somehow the lessons end at the business level. When it comes to personal, you kind of forget that the principles are the same. So I'm just saying, let's remember to apply them as well in our lives. Just the same way we know debt is facilitating something in my business, it's the same thing in your personal life as well. So try and prevent and reduce impulse buying, and that's where budgeting is so important. I'll give you a tool, show you a tool that I use that usually helps. And do not do anything, not just show, don't just do anything to impress people. It is expensive. It's expensive for your money, it's expensive for your time, it's expensive for your energy, for your health. So yeah, no impressing people. So those are the key things. So let's talk about now the money part. Now we can talk about now the money part and the tools bit, because we've talked about our key driver, which is our mind and our intention and our heart. Before I get there, I'd like to find out if there's any question or thought or based on what we've talked about so far. To our participants, anyone who's hearing and has something to say? Yeah. All right. How about you say, I'm here, just so that I can know I'm not just speaking to Joy and Celia. Sometimes there's a challenge of virtual learning. Sometimes you don't know. Bani is great. Great. Gives me psych. It's giving me psych. Thank you. Thank you for confirming. Glad to hear James, MS, Bernice, you're here. Beverly, fantastic. It's encouraging for me. Great. So let's talk about budgeting, yeah? Fine, we know that it's a key activity when it comes to building wealth. Mula is also here. Good to see you. Budgeting gives you the freedom to spend on the things that are a priority to you. That's what excites me the most. Winnie is also here. When I think about budgeting, even for me, please don't think it's like an easy thing for me. In my house, we meet every 5th of the month around a small dining table to discuss money, and it's never the most interesting thing to do. I would rather eat, right? I'd rather eat, I'd rather watch a book, I'd rather do anything, but we just need to do this. So how I usually do this, I'm not a big fan of budgeting because it just reminds me of so many things that I need to pay for. But how I chose to look at it is it helps me to prioritize the things I really, really desire, right? So when we are having this conversation and when we are working on our budget, it's really a tool that's helping us to get closer or keep progressing to our loans. For example, not our loans, our goals. For example, keep progressing towards last year, for example, when we used to meet every 5th of the month, is we just wanted to see, could there be extra money towards paying down our loans, right? Because you are really hoping by the end of the year we could be debt free. So that was a very interesting priority, and it caused me to just want to show up for the meeting, even if I didn't want to. Right now, we are saving up for a holiday in August, just a small family holiday. And as I said, my battery for my bike. I will show up for that meeting on the dining table at the 5th. I don't know what you're planning for, right? It will cause you to show up, whether it's on the dining table or on your computer. It will just encourage you. So consider that. It helps you realize the areas you could be overstretching yourself. For example, I say we because I have a partner, some may not. So, and for us, what we've done is we work with one basket, right? So it helps us realize you are overstretching on family support. So that didn't mean that we don't do family support. It just made us realize, oh my goodness, we're not able to do basic things because our family support costs or expenses are too high. So it just calls us to see, let's reduce it, helped us have a real conversation with our family members, and at least now things are moving, right? It helps to guide your spending and saving decisions. Helps you to decide, do we need to save for that thing now, or can it wait? Because sometimes you can want so many things, but there's not enough money for all those things. So it causes you to like prioritize the things you need to save up for, right? It also helps you to stay on track with your financial goals clearly. And ta-da, not 2 months are alike. So you have to make time for reviewing the budget in advance of every new month. Is that true for you? Because not 2 months are alike for me. Yeah, costs for my month, they do not change so much, but there are months, especially months when my friends either have a birthday or, you realize the gift budget line has increased. Then there are times there are no gifts that month. Sometimes you realize maybe something happened in the family, like a birthday or a wedding or a funeral. So the expenses then increased, but there's a month, nothing happens within the family. So that's why I say it's good to review so that you can know what to do. And it's interesting that you will do that for your business. So what I usually encourage myself is, if I can do that for Go Forth, because I usually really keep myself accountable financially for Go Forth, where I say, how much did we make this month? How much did we spend? Like clockwork. So if I can do that for Go Forth, why can't I do that for me, who is so important? I'm more important than Go Forth, right? But how do I forget myself? That's why I was saying prioritizing, yeah? Months when there are dozens of baby showers. That was for me in February. That was not funny. Mm-hmm. So now what we have decided is now there's that budget line called gifts and donations. So what we have done is we have decided this year we will spend Kenya shilling X on gifts and donations. Then I've divided that amount by 12. So what now I'm doing is that amount, I'm saving it every month, so that now if in case something happens, whatever, we will have somewhere to pull it from, as opposed for me to look from my income for this month. So that's interesting. So when do you need a budget review? So Bernice says, very true. I do these things for my budget business religiously, but on a personal level, and yet you are the most important person, Bernice. Like, if it wasn't for you, even that business would not be alive. Like, that business exists because of you. Your clients are happy because of you. Like, you're the LCM. You remember math, local, whatever it was, the most important thing. But somehow we just put ourselves in the back burner and we expect to have the best life. How now? Hey, anyway, you'll need a budget review when key things happen, yeah? Key things usually change. That's how you know every month change. When you're paying off your debt, you realize you need to review your budget. When getting married, when buying a home, when getting a raise or higher paying job, for you who are getting more income from your businesses, for you who is getting new jobs, going to Geneva, working in Spain, your reality was not the same 2 years ago. Have you really reviewed your budget? In case you got a salary cut, like for me, the last 2 years, I had to incur salary cuts because of the economy. I had to review my budget. When you lose a job, when you lose a big business client, when you get separated, when you get divorced, when you lose someone, when you move to a new county or a new country, when you have a baby, that one I can tell you for a fact. I got one and my life just changed. Even my personal, they just change your personal finances. So you just review. When you get a pet, those pet lovers, if you're getting a new pet, don't just do it because you love pets. Please consider that budget as well. And in the budget for pets, be truthful. Yeah, there are those who take people, pets to pet spa, the lab, the vet, do all these things. Include them, all of them, in the pet fees. Yeah, and the price of food has gone up. Are you looking out for deals online, right? I used to have to look for deals, like is there pet food that is on deal? Like anyway, if you're going back to school, whether it's for you or your family members, in case you have to contribute to a family member's school fees, in case you're planning to go back to school or continue with school, you need to review that budget. In case you're changing jobs, in case you're in transition, in case your business is changing at the moment, maybe it's pivoting and a couple of things need to change, you need to review your budget. In case you're like me, your wardrobe has to change, right? You need to review your budget. In case your tastes of space have increased or have changed and you need interior decor and, a new, what have I been saying? Vacuum cleaner or whatever, you need to review your budget. Health matters. In case now you have to be a caregiver, in case, there's a health scare and you realize, man, we need to work on something. In case you're taking care of family, you need to review your budget, and so many other reasons that we may not be able to mention. I never imagined my budget changing so much. Let me tell you, car or a bike, there's a whole, it's a whole budget line. So you write the budget line and then you write sub. So people usually, I realize something and I'll show you in the budget shortly. Let me show you how to have the budget I work with, and then you adjust, yeah? Now we are in the tool. I'll send this, you'll receive this as well. And you can simplify it or continue working with what works for you. But let me show you. What I use to track my expenses is here. Very important, very simple. You can use it on if you like writing, notebook. If you're an Excel person like me, you can use it. If you're a mobile phone, you can use it. It's as simple as just saying every day of the week, how am I spending my money? So if this is like my March 2023 expense log, March 1st, coffee, so match at name or where you may spend your money. Could be a coffee, or you can even write item, whatever it is, the amount to 50, classify it. Was it for personal or business? Especially some of us, we end up doing same phone, different categories, right? So just incorporate, classify them. Meals and entertainment category, it was on a date, right? Girls' date, and so I paid for my coffee and I needed that receipt. Uber, same thing, 320. That was for a business meeting. I indicate that so that I can transfer it to my business budget in case sometimes you miss it out, yeah? Categories, travel, the note was for, you can indicate where the meeting was or what location, whatever note you need. If you need a receipt, it comes to your email. Got airtime, 1,000 bob, that was for the bill. That was for my personal phone. Under utilities, as simple as that. And you can rework this the way you want. You can also note it down on your book if you like that, tracking your expenses, just make it as simple for you as possible. Yeah, that's how I track. Share that with you. And now the budget I was talking about, what I work with, it's also simple. You could find other simpler ones, but for me, it just gives me a really good picture of how things are. So in a budget, there are two key things that are in a budget: income, that where money is coming from, and expenditure, where money is going. So what you need to do is, for the month, you write down on a normal month what's coming in, or where it comes from and where it's going. So this is the income section. I hope you can see this, Celia. Yeah. Okay. So the income you'll be putting here, please let it be net, the one that actually checks into the account. Yeah, less any taxes or any statutory deductions, right? So you come and indicate what income it is. It could be from your salary, from one job, salary from your business. Just come and indicate what you get every month. In case you're from your business, so there are businesses like mine that your income is irregular, right? Like what I made in January is not what I made in Feb, is not what I made, because I'm not yet on like an exact salary yet, but it still pays me, right? Based on the earnings of the business on that month. Please get a salary. You know, if you're not, I don't know what you're doing, because where is the money coming from your life, for your life? Yeah. So my business pays me a certain percentage based on what, at the moment, based on the sales that I get. But then there are some people who the business is paying them a specific and fixed income. So you indicate that. So you come and write your amount here. It will calculate annually, and for that changes, you just adjust it. You just multiply by 12, or you'll be adjusting it accordingly. There are those that also get income from other investments they may have. For example, if you usually get dividends from shares, that's usually like annually. You can come and indicate that in the annual section. If you have another passive business somewhere else, for example, I have an Airbnb up country, and so, you know, that's an income I usually get. I indicate there. In case you have investment properties, like I've met clients who have like rental property, and so there's a salary they get from it. So not the entire income. Please remember that you're putting what you earn as a person, okay? And then some people get gifts, some people get bonuses. They may not be the same every month. That's why I put the monthly bit and the annually. So, for example, in case you usually get gifts, these irregular ones, what you can do is you can work with an average. Yeah, you can have a look and say, you know what, considering, for example, the last 6 months, this is a total of, you know, gifts in cash that I have received. And so you can then multiply, you know, calculate it annually, and then you divide by 12, just to have an idea of how much income you'll be getting, yeah, in case you do. So in the end here, it will calculate, tell you the total inflows, all right? And then the outflows part is where you come and write, where does my money go? Usually, money goes to three key areas, right? Investments. For example, if you have a business like I do, I have a coaching business, and I still do spend personal money towards my business as capital. Like I send something there to just keep these things going sometimes. Or you may be buying shares in other businesses every month. So you just come and indicate that. And if it's not every month, you can also find out, is it annually approximately how much do I usually spend on or send to the business, and then you divide by 12, just to have an idea of how much do you really contribute to your business, right? You could be saving to an investment group, or what we call in Kenya chamas, or such kind of things, or circle, wherever your money goes to for your investment, your future money, okay? You just indicate how much money it is. If you have a savings account, like a money market savings account, and you usually save an amount every month, you indicate there. if you usually contribute to your pension, which you should, you indicate how much you usually contribute from your own finances every single month. Then what will happen, it will indicate here the total investment expenses. And sometimes I do have, and I recommend that you also have, a saving, like the total savings you make to spend. You put aside money for you so that you can be able to spend it later. It's good to say, for example, I'd say, 10K, I put it aside every month so that I can be able to spend it on whatever I choose to. You can choose to do that. That's something people, the reason why I added, it's not for people, it was for me. I realized that I would still do this budget thing. And then somehow I would still find myself spending some extra things on me that are not in the budget and do not appear in the budget every single month. So what I did is I said, let me just put an allocation and say these are for savings for my spending, right? So just an allocation for that. And it has really come to help me. Then there are fixed expenses. These are the fixed ones, yeah? Like Joy, like the way you now said with your car, there's the insurance that you pay. Even if you pay annually, just divide the annual payment by 12 and see how much you need to be putting aside every month, right? Very important, Joy, so that when you're paying that insurance next year in January, you're not like scattering to look for money. At least you've been saving all this money every single month. You get what I mean? Same thing for you, Celia, for me. That's how I do even with the bike, so that I don't get like a panic attack when I see the insurance sticker is saying it's about time. At least I've been putting aside some money every single month. Yeah, for you every December. So what I'd say, every December you spend Kenya shillings X on insurance, divide that by 12, then put it in the budget. And then you just make sure you're including it there. On December or in December, you just send the payment. Yeah? If you pay your own medical, include it there. So just come here and write all your expenses in your life, the fixed ones. Yeah, the fixed means the ones it's a must, it's clear to you, and these vary per person, right? Then you just edit them there and you get the total. Then you have variable expenses. These, they usually kind of change depending on the month or depending on that particular expense. Something like airtime could change for some people if you're not on postpaid, or sometimes if you use postpaid and then you spend extra. Sometimes food and shopping is a variable, to be honest, especially in the season we are in. Prices are really changing. It's like they're changing every single day. So please consider that. Entertainment, how much entertainment, just how I usually do it. Don't just write how much you spend on a drink how much you think. You ask yourself, how do I entertain myself? What are all the different ways of entertainment in my life? Going out, going for walks, going for picnics, all those things, then break them down and know how much they total per month. Transport costs, break them down based on how you travel. Is it by fare? Is it fuel? Is it taxi? Is it toll fees? Is it oil? So please include courier fees. Yeah, because there's a lot of buying online these days, and people forget that amount you usually pay the Boda courier solutions or the Uber solutions. Please include them as part of your transport costs. Exercise and self-care, everything that's variable, pet maintenance fees, donations and gifts. Please note I've separated donation and gift from family support. Those are two key different budget expenses. Home maintenance and car maintenance. M-Pesa transaction costs would go to variables or bank fees. I would say let them go. Bank fees are very clear if you have a bank account that has a specific fixed amount. So I would put M-Pesa fees in the variable expenses because it could change, yeah, based on your spend every month. So anything that changes falls under here. Yeah? Here it's vehicle, depending on what the vehicle is. So just check out your life and update this document as you desire. All that you need to note is make sure you you, in the place for the total, you adjust so that the extras that you've added are not removed, are all included. Then, so what it will happen, it will show you your total expenditure per month and your total expenditure per year. Then immediately what it will do, it will calculate whether that month you'll be making a profit in your life or a loss when it comes to your performance, personal financial management. And that is really helpful because it can help you to see, all right, is there an area I can reduce on, or do I need to make more money, and how can I make more money? So it helps you start making choices or making decisions. I hope that is helpful. I've talked a lot. Is there a question? Bernice, what's on your mind? Anyone? Lawrence, MS, Lula? Yeah. So I realize we just have 1.5 hours. So my document has so much. I'm just happy to be learning. Sawa, Florence, that is even fantastic. And it's all resonating. And the good thing, there's a recording. So in case of anything, you can always access. And maybe next time we'll be able to go through the rest of the document. As you can see, there's so many other places. We may not get time today, but they could be all helpful. We'll plan for that another time. So I've had a template, but I've been inconsistent with using it. Excited to starting track. I would say, Bernice, if it's working, use it. Just build that muscle. Get back to it. Get back to it. Get back to it. It will still work for you. Yeah. Yes? You'd like to say something? All right. So great to hear. So where were we? Let's get back to the where we left off of the conversation. Let's see here. Yeah. Be proactive. Choose yourself. Prioritize yourself. Yeah. So spending plan, very important. It's really just to understand what your key expenses are, and that's also a simple way. This is also a simple way of having a budget. As you can see, it's very clear, similar to what I've shared with you. There are very many different ones. Even if you go to your Excel, by the way, on your computer, you go to Excel, you go new templates, and then you search budget template. They'll give you a free version. All you need to do is change the currency to your country currency or to the currency that you usually use. There are so many tools available to you. And there are others that usually also just use a book and a pen and it works. Let me share with you a couple of other budget methods you could consider when you're thinking about how do I split my money, because sometimes I get this question a lot when someone is thinking, well, how do I know how much is going to go somewhere? So remember how I said it's so important for you to know your intentions and your reason. So there are a couple of other ways that could help you. These are really book-related ways. I would say understand your goals. Let your goals be the one that guide you to save or to budget, if I could use that. So there's one called the envelope method, the envelope or cash method. This works for people who like touching money, right? Who are, there are people who say, I don't like this font thing, I don't like me, just like writing and things like that. So if you're one of them, this could also be very helpful. So how it works, you get envelopes. I used to have a colleague, she was an enveloper, if I could say that. She just used to budget through that, and it brought peace to her life in that way. So what she did, she gets envelopes. She has really nice envelopes in a file, and has written each budget item on the envelope, right? And then now she puts the money in cash. Can you imagine? That I can't, but she does because it works for her. Everybody different. She puts the cash that she has budgeted for each and every envelope, right? Then what she does, she will spend that envelope. Once it's spent on, or once it's spent, that's it. That month, she can't spend extra from that envelope if there is no more money. If by the end of the month, she goes to the envelope and finds there's still some shillings, she will then like maybe allocate it to the next month or send it to the savings account. So there are people who work like that. I can't, because cash, I don't even remember how cash looks like. But there are people who are like that. And if you are, feel free, walk your walk. Yeah. Then there are those who like working with breakout methods, percentage breakout methods. There are people who like, Sheba, just tell me how much do I put where? And for me, I usually find this really, really tough unless you give me, like the key details of your budget, right? But let me just share with you, and maybe that will help you as well think about it. There are 3 key percentage breakout methods where you allocate your monies based on percentages. So there's one called 50, 30, 20. That's like the general textbook one. And that's best if you do not have any debt, right? If you don't have any debt and you're wondering, how can I start if I had stopped, or if this budget thing has not been working for me, you can consider the 50, 30, 20. I'll explain how it works. There's also another called the 45, 35, 10, 10. That is ideal for people with debt. I will show you how. And then there's 40, 40, 20. That's for people who are in a season where all they want to do is saving, saving, saving. So as you can see, all these are still intentional driven. Can you see that? They are very intention driven. I'm debt focused at the moment. Let me use this. I'm savings focused at the moment. Let me use this. I'm just starting out because this thing has never been working for me. Let me try that. So let's look at 50, 30, 20. So 50, 30, 20, what it says is your income. 50% of your income goes towards your needs and your essentials. You are the one who decides what your needs and essentials are. For example, for me, shelter, food to some level. I usually tell myself that because I'm a foodie. And so there is food that is essential, then there's that is just for fun. Transportation to some level as well, and insurance. That's for me. For you as well, consider what are yours. So 50% goes towards essentials, 30% goes towards savings, right? And debt repayment. For example, this is for your future self, your emergency fund, your debt repayment. So if all you want to do is just start, maybe you're not heavily in debt, maybe all you have is like the basic school loan, for example. You don't have these money expensive ones, you could definitely use this one. 20% goes on other things like wants, non-essentials, fun times, that's what you can do. So this is what I usually recommend, especially for people who are just starting out, who just want a direction. And the good thing that once you do this, you start getting a feel of, do I want to adjust, right? Would I rather I spend 40% on my needs and then save more? So don't just do what they say in the books exactly. You can also adjust according to your life, right? There's another one, the one I was saying, 45, 35, 10, 10, which is debt repayment focus. What it says is, here you are like literally bootstrapping. You know how you entrepreneurs say bootstrapping? You're bootstrapping and you're saying, I'm so tired of all this crazy debt and I just can't wait to be debt free. That was me the last 2 years. And so I decide, I look at my life and I say, 45% of my income will go towards debt repayment. 35% will go towards my essentials and needs. 10% can go now to my money. That is my money for my future. That is my savings, my emergency fund, the investment bit of it. And then 10% can go to everything else. Everything else I usually say is non-essentials. Deep down, to be honest, I really don't need to spend on this, but I just want to. It's what is going to make me happy. So sometimes it's okay to allocate for that instead of you being sad all your life, or all the entire month. Someone else could say, this is a good idea, but I would rather do 50% on debt repayment and split, right? Split the rest accordingly. But this is just a guide. If you're on a savings trajectory at the moment, that's your key goal. Maybe you're saving for something, for school, for a trip, for whatever is your goal. You can consider this 40-40-20, where 40% goes to your essentials and needs, key things. 40% goes to your money for your future self. As you can see, we are not forgetting you. And that's what I love about prioritizing yourself. You will still help others, right? Then 20% goes to everything else. So when you do this, sometimes you may realize, whoa, I'm really loving it. It's so exciting. So you can even say, 50% will go towards my savings, a bit of it goes towards my essentials and others go towards my everything else. This is just a guide, right? But it can encourage you to, you can adapt it. Key reflections. You don't need to buy a file. What I would say is please track your expenses. If you like these file things, buy. And then in that file, you put in all your financial information that is important to you, right? Sometimes we have worked so hard, we even forget what we have or what we've been able to acquire in our lives, You can even forget, oh, I've been paying. I remember one point, when I was younger, because I started this savings journey, coming to you, Celia, I started this savings journey so early in my life. I was just too excited, I think. So I remember someone just convinced me to buy an education policy for a child I never had, and I didn't even think I'd ever have children. And there I was taking it and sending 2,000 shillings to this insurance company. And do you know, by the time I was turning 30, I had forgotten about that savings because it was just being deducted direct from my account. So I get an email from the insurance company and they tell me, would you like to reinvest your money or would you like to withdraw? In my mind, like, what money, right? I'd forgotten about that policy. Anyway, it was payday from my savings. There was no child yet. So there we were with money and that's how I bought a bike. So then you create your revised budget as we've discussed. Celia, you have a question?
No, just wanted to check in on the time because we're headed towards the end. So I wanted to, if people are happy to stay a few minutes longer, if Sheba, you're happy to stay as well. But we also had said that if people have questions and we don't have time to get to them, please drop them in the chat because we can capture all of them. And Sheba has agreed to answer them even after the session, and we can share out the answers to everyone. So if you have any questions, even if we don't get to them, drop them in the chat because that would help us to also to respond to you afterwards. But Sheba, I think with the timing, I'll leave it up to you to guide us. And maybe people can also see if they're willing to stay a few minutes more. I think we're open to that. But just wanted to check in on that. Thank you.
Okay, so for me, I can talk about two key things which I feel are critical. I don't know if they can give me, are you willing to give me an extra, 15 minutes? Maybe in those 15 minutes, I can share with you a little bit about debt. I can use 10 minutes to share with you about debt and 10 minutes to share about some investment objectives. Are you willing? Because
I'm happy to stay. I see Bernice is also happy to stay. So I think as long as we have multiple people, let's just continue. And then those who have to drop off can come back to the recording.
All right.
Back
so what I will not cover within the 10 minutes, Celia, is the net worth, the personal net worth. What I can do is I can do the Loom video as we discussed. You will share it with them. For now, I share what I feel is really important, which is here. Debt management, because I know it's one of the things, the reason why I feel it's important, it's one of the things that slows down people from saving and even from investing, because you're just feeling where is money going to come from, and yet these people or these organizations are asking for my money. So how do you tackle debt? There's a system called the snowball debt repayment model. Please go and check it out. It's what I will show you. It usually takes a bit of time. So maybe I will do a Zoom as a loan video as well, but how it works, this one, it's the best. There are very many options out there, but it has really worked for me. I've been in that different seasons of my life, and it's been a tool that I have used that has helped me to accelerate debt repayments. And what the trick really about it is, it encourages you, it challenges you to have a very clear idea, to know how much debt you have, list them all down, know how much, what they are, how much you usually contribute, and how many months are remaining for you to be able to clear that debt. And then what it encourages you to do is go back to your budget and ask yourself, where can I get some extra money that I can free up, maybe from a particular expense, I can free up and channel it as an extra payment to my loans. Are we together till there? Yeah. How can I get some money from my current expenses, and instead of spending on this thing, I channel it towards my loans? And so what I will have done is I'll have listed all my loans. I'll have listed how much I owe. I'll have listed how much I usually pay every month. And therefore, when I divide, I'm able to know how many months it would take for me to clear that. So you remember that extra repayment that you will have freed up, that amount of money becomes an extra payment you make towards the loan that has the least time to go. Let me show you an example with a real example. Okay, so that it can make sense. Just 1 minute. So what it means is, let's say, for example, I hope you can see the debt repayment calculation plan. Let's say here is me. Let me delete this for purposes of explaining what I just said. I have a business loan. Its pending outstanding loan amount is 44,000. Just write outstanding. Currently, I pay 5K towards it. I have a SACCO loan, that's a cooperative loan. Outstanding is 320. I pay 30 every month. I have a personal loan. Outstanding is 500,000. I pay 50. I have a school loan. Outstanding is 490. I usually pay 22,500. So the outstanding loan amount I have is 1.354 million. Every month, I usually pay a total of 107,500. You will come and just put your own details because for everyone is different. So then there's this part of how many months do I take to pay it off, right? So what I need to do is divide outstanding amount by the current monthly payment for me to know the number of months I need to pay. Are we together? So then the same applies for all of them. So it means SACCO loan, it will take 11 months. Personal loan, it will take 10 months. School loan, it will take 22 months. So now that we have done. So the strategy with a snowball debt repayment is, number one, pay the loan with the least number of months to go first. That's what it proposes. So which is, in this case, the business loan, because it has the least number of months. So what it means, release some cash from your expenses, as I said, and channel it as an extra payment to the loan. So for example, if I choose, remember it's a choice. If I choose to free up 10K and channel it as an extra payment to my first loan, this is what it means, as you can see here. Now I'm coming to deal with it. So here I've included extra payment and I've said it's 10,000 bob. So I will then, now my new monthly payment, therefore, for this business loan will be what I have been paying, 5K, are we together, plus 10, the 10K I have committed to be paying, right? So I will pay it, I'll now be paying 15,000 shillings, and it will take me now, if I do this, it will now take me 3 months to cover this loan as opposed to the 9 months because of the choice I have made. Remember, as I do this, all the other months, all the other loans, I'm paying as usual, right? The only difference is I freed up some 10K and brought it to this particular one loan. So after 3 months, right? Because remember, I will now clear this first loan after 3 months, isn't it? So after 3 months, then I can come and attack the next loan. The next loan that has the least time to go, which will be the SACCO loan. Is it? Let me see. No. The personal loan, 10 months to go. But by the time I come to it, it won't be 500 anymore, right? Because it will be 3 months later. Are we together? So 3 months later, by the time I'm coming to it, I'll have still been paying it for 3 months. So 3 months later, as I come to attack it, it will now be 350,000 shillings. Are we clear? Please say clear so far. Just type it so that, because I wouldn't want to go all the way and then come back again because of time. So I'm saying by the time I'm coming to attack the next one, it will be 3 months later. So it will now be at a loan balance of 350,000. Great. So great. So what we'll do now is the amount that I used to pay on the business loan. Remember now I finished paying 15K. That 15K, I don't go out with my girls, as you have heard clearly, I really like them. I don't go out and tell them, yo, let's celebrate this business loan. No, I take that money, 15K that I used to spend on the previous loan, and put it forward as an extra payment to this second loan, right? So now the new monthly repayment for this second loan becomes what I have been paying all along, plus the extra payment now, the payment I used to pay on the previous loan that I completed, it becomes a new payment of 65,000. Now for that one, it will take me 5 months to clear it. Are we good? So remember, I've been on this project for 8 months, this project of debt repayment. The other loans, I'm still continuing to pay them. I still continue to pay them as usual. So 8 months later, when I come to attack the next loan, which is the SACCO loan, it will be at 80,000. 8 months later, it will be at 80,000 shillings, right? We are clear? So what will happen is, by the time I'm coming to attack, let me use the word attack. By the time I'm coming to attack this loan, I will now have I'll now have completed paying the previous loan, which was a personal loan. So please, I will have freed up 65,000 that I was paying from the previous loan. I will not go and celebrate, because it is a celebration. I will not go and celebrate with that money. I will not go and buy another bike item because it's nice. I will commit to the process. I will say, let me take that amount I used to pay from the previous loan and bring it forward as an extra payment to this loan, right? So by the time I'm attacking it, it will be 30,000, what I have been paying all along, plus this new repayment, and I'll only cover it within a month. As you're seeing how the snowball is growing, that's why it's called snowball. It's growing as it's growing. It's going down the hill, the mountain, right? So I'll clear it within a month. And then now what will happen is I'll now have covered 9 whole months. So by the time I'm coming to attack the last loan, which is the school loan, 9 months later, this school loan will be at 287,500, 9 months later. Because remember, I'm still paying it, yeah? So what will happen is I'll have now completed paying the SACCO loan, which I was paying at 95,000. I will not go for a holiday because of how amazing I have been at it, right? I'll just commit to the process and say, yo, yeah, let me just complete this. Whatever I used to pay on the previous loan, 95,000, since it's freed up, let me bring it here. And so it will be 22,500, what I've been paying all along, plus the new repayment from the previous loan. Okay? And I will take about 2.5 months to complete that. And that is how you get yourself out of debt. It is not easy. Trust me, from my own experience, because as you can see, the main game changer is the 10,000 shillings. Yeah, it's a 10,000 shillings that I channeled from a specific expense. For me, it's usually wine. Yeah, I just decided, you know what, I'll get someone to be buying me wine. That wine money, let me bring it here, right? Whatever it is for you. So you just bring it forward. That 10K is what I call the magic number. It's the only difference. But as you can see, it's about consistency and discipline. I really hope you can use it. Even if you're not in debt right now, that's good. You will use it in the future. It's also a tool you can use in your business repayment loans as well, if you want that. For someone who has a question and saying, oh, but Sheba, the loans you've indicated here are like the normal long-term loans. Yes. If you have bank loans, those short loans, those ones you don't include them here. Those ones you literally save up, get the money and clear them. Right? Because they have very short-term period of they just have very short period of time. So in fact, what happens is the longer you take, the more interest that you pay. So Celia, it seems like I've used 20 minutes here. I feel like this debt repayment is helpful, at least for this particular session. Maybe we will do a loom for the investment session because I don't know if there's time. And then what I would say, in case you have debt, use this. What it does is, as you've seen, it reduces the length of time you would have used. And remember, time is money. This, once you free up your time, you end up to free up money that you used to pay. And this money now you can go and use it towards investments. And that's what you want to be able to do, to go and use your money towards investment. Yeah. So, yeah, Celia, the only remaining thing now is the investment part. Should I go ahead?
I think we said 15 minutes, so you have 4 to go, and people are still here. I think I really, wow, yeah, that snowball method was really helpful for me. Yeah. So I'm happy to stay on. People happy to stay on. If you have to drop off, no problem.
Okay. So finally, when you free up your monies, in case you are in debt, and if you're not in debt, it means there is some money you will start having or saving that now you can now use towards your investment journey. What are the key things you need to remember about the investment journey? Anyone in this world, we only invest based on these 3 key objectives. These are the key drivers for any investment direction, right? Number 1, to preserve your money. It's called capital preservation. The other objective is to grow your money, income generation. The third one is to really, really, really exponentially grow your money, and that is called capital growth. So what happens is, for each of these objectives, there are specific investment options that you can invest your money in, right? So if your goal is to preserve money, and how you know your goal is preserving money is if you know that you need that money in less than 1 year, in 1 year and below, then your goal for investing that money is preservation. So if you ever find that I have some money, but you know what, I know I will need it in less than a year, then your goal becomes to invest in a capital preservation tool. And examples of capital preservation tools, you could write them down, include money market funds. At the moment, they're the savings options or preserving options that are providing competitive rates. Money market funds, the normal bank account, bank savings, it preserves your money, but it really doesn't grow your money. Yeah. Fixed savings account, at least they try to give you an interest, but it's also usually not that high. SACCO savings accounts, SACCO, the cooperative savings account, are also preservation tools. So as you heard, the word preservation means their goal is to enable you to access this money when you need it, as soon as you need it. But if you realize, hey, I have some money and I want this money to go to, I want to invest this money so that it can make me some income, right? Then your goal becomes income generation. And this one requires you to give these tools time for that money to go and generate income. Examples of income generating investment options include a business like the one you're running, right? You invest money in your business so that it can be generating profits for you, right? Business falls there. Rental property is also an income generating option, right? Government bonds or treasury bonds are also income generating tools. And hopefully we will get to have deeper sessions on expounding on all of this. So those are the tools that if you ever feel, I want to grow my income, here it means you need to have a medium risk, medium return kind of overview or perspective. So you're putting your money in a business, putting your money in a government bond, putting your money in maybe rental property so that you can be able to be generating an income. And then the final one is capital growth. And capital growth means I have this amount of money in my hand, but all I want this money to go and do is just go and grow. I'm not even in a hurry to get it back. I'm going to give this money time for it to go, grow, and then come back to me with a proper return. Usually, capital growth options are what we describe as high risk, high return options. They require long-term overview. Like we're talking about 7 years, especially in this part of the world, 7 years going up, right? It's almost, 6 years going up, right? Where you're saying, hey, take my money, go do your magic, I pray, or I hope that it can give me a proper return. So examples of capital growth businesses include real estate development properties. Yeah. Then another one includes businesses or shares in businesses. There are certain businesses, there are businesses that are passive, then there are businesses that when you get into them, they're high risk, they're high capital, but over the long term, they're going to give you a good return. Also investing in other businesses in form of shares and equities, yeah? And global markets as well fall under capital growth. Global market, investing in global markets. And now we are also hearing of others that have come up, such as cryptocurrency and all those things, and like Forex, foreign exchange market. But those ones, what I would say is read more about them. Don't put money in a place that you do not have a clue of what it is, or if it's not properly regulated in your country. So anytime you want to invest your money, the money that you'll have freed up from debt, or the money that you are saving towards investing, always ask yourself, what's the objective for this money? Is it for it to be preserved? Is it for it to generate income? Or is it for it to just go and grow exponentially? So Celia, those are the 3 key areas, and these are the ones I was talking about, and I'll share this list with you as well. And this is how they make money. If you invest in property, you make money by income from rent or by getting a profit upon sale. If you invest in fixed income options like the ones listed here, you make an income from the interest that your money has earned, right? If you invest in businesses in forms of shares or equities, you make your money in 2 ways: by when you sell, the profit when you sell, and also income from the dividends that you get. Of course, if you just have cash in hand or cash in basic accounts, there's really not much you're making from it. So what platforms, you asked, do we recommend to store and spend money? So like operational accounts, you mean. I use Bank and M-Pesa, but find it is actually quite costly and it is limited in allocating money to different categories. So what do you mean from this? It's like So how I'd say this, your question is around operational monies. Like what are the ideal ways to handle accounts, right? The thing is right now, it's become so convenient for mobile money such as M-Pesa. I've discovered that there are certain financial institutions that are offering deals to kind of save up on some of these costs. So it's good to go and find out. For example, I recently found out that Loop, which is by one of these banks called NCBA, Loop helps you to make transactions, and it's quite affordable, if sometimes free. You're able to do pay bill, you're able to do Lipa na M-Pesa. And so the good thing about Loop is it gives you a statement, and it also helps you to see how your monies are actually moving. I recently saw an ad from I&M or Stanbic. One of these banks have removed the cost, for transacting from bank to M-Pesa. So I find that their clients are enjoying that service as well. So I would say, really, the tool that you use, it's best to ask, how do you usually transact? And also check your transactions. When do you usually transact the most? Because sometimes you could probably even plan. You know how systems automate expenditure? You could probably realize, I usually spend a lot of M-Pesa around the 17th or the 5th of the month. So maybe I could organize when I'm making specific payments, right? Possibly, can I have a bank that is just helping me to send mass payments, or can I think it's really right now M-Pesa is just really unfortunately, what is it, like a monopoly, kind of? Not really, it's not monopoly, but it's like the key main tool. But I've also been seeing some of these telcos saying you can do transfers for free, but the challenge, it would really be up to you, Celia, to say, do I want, should I consider getting another phone and then getting another line so that I can be doing my transactions? But all those are options that are available. Trying to consider having a line from another separate telco, moving to a bank that is promising cheaper costs, but sometimes you may find as well, go find out if there are other costs as well, because maybe they could be having a monthly bank cost that's higher when you do the math at the end of it all. Or it could also you deciding, let me be planning my payments, around a certain period to kind of save up on costs. Yeah. I hope the session was helpful. Please send in your questions, and I can answer them in a question and answer through a video. And hopefully we can have another session one day to just go deeper into what we have discussed. But just remember, it's all about your mind. It's about your intention, your discipline, prioritizing yourself, and just getting things done. And when you fall off, you get back up. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Sheba. And thanks everyone for staying on. I think the fact that most people remained is a testament to how helpful the session has been. Thank you very much. I've seen your email is here in case people want to reach you. If you are on our WhatsApp group, and please share any questions you have for Sheba there as well, and we can take note of that and we'll share out the materials. If you're not on our WhatsApp group, we can share a link to join that as well in the email we'll send out. If there's any feedback you have for Sheba, please also share that. I know from my end, it's been very, very helpful, and it's exactly what I've been looking for. I think it's very hard to find this information. So thank you very much. And also thanks everyone for the time. We'll be in touch via our WhatsApp group, and I wish you a nice weekend.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheba. Thank you, Celia. Great to see you all. Bye.
Bye, everyone.